Welcome on into Having Fun Hockey. Jack O'Rourke alongside Adam Unruh back on sabbatical from a trip out to Arizona, which I just learned from you in the first take on this intro is doesn't use time zones. Is this is mine? But I was like
Doesn't
so
observe
off by that it changed my day.
doesn't observe daylight savings time. Their time zone relative to us on the East Coast shifts
Okay.
depending on where we are at with the clocks. And so when we dial the clocks back next, then they'll be mountain time for us. But right now they're Pacific time. So you learn
And
something.
Adam, is as someone who likes to use my resources, when I'm not the smartest guy in the room, I like to ask questions. Why the hell would they do that?
I was just thinking like it's probably because they're not smart enough out in the state of Arizona to be able to shift their time appropriate to what everyone else is doing. I guess I don't know. I stayed right next to University of Arizona in the great city of Tucson down there, and I didn't really get the vibe that anybody down there was putting much thought into, how they shift their clock depending on the rotation of the
Yeah.
earth and where the sun is at. They were mostly, to me, it seemed, and this is, just really me judging a book by its cover. I think I'm pretty good at it, but everybody there seemed like they were kind of worried about like, where we were going to booze at, even though it was a Wednesday night, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's Wednesday night, like, maybe we can get after it a little bit somewhere. That seemed to be more of, the glaze that was over their eyes that I saw rather than like, oh, like this kid doesn't realize we're on Pacific time instead of mountain time right now. That's all.
Yeah, no, I that actually probably will be my going to bed topic tonight, is reading about why Arizona is so stubborn, I guess maybe is the proper word on daylight savings time. But Adam, as we get into the playoffs, we will talk about all of the playoff series in depth here in a little bit. Gonna hold off on that for now. So we'll hold off on your team for now.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into the show today, Adam, as just the playoff season's here, we're back. What is your favorite playoff hockey memory of all time?
You're putting me on the spot here. This wasn't in the show sheet.
I actually believe it is number one on the show sheet.
I did my homework. Yeah. I did my homework. All right, so let me go off the top of my head here. So obviously, Jack, you and I have both been fortunate enough to watch our teams lift the Stanley Mug. For me, it's been more than a few times. I kind of like 2009 the most, like the Penguins winning the Cup in 2009. There's so many different moments I could go through from that one. That one just like it just feels a little more nostalgic for me. So like I like listening to Mike Lang's voice. I like the highlights are a little grainy, like season 1 and season 2 of Trailer Park Boys.
Oh yeah.
I kind of like that about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, like maybe, like we routed the Capitals in game 7 of the second round that year. That was the dueling hat trick year. Crosby and Ovechkin, the dueling hat tricks. I think this is so tough. Probably like, the legend of Max Talbot that year. I love Max Talbot, all-time Penguin. The Malkin, if I had to pick like one signature moment from the playoff run, it's probably Max Talbot coming down the wing 2-on-1. He goes glove side on Chris Osgood. It's that, or it's Malkin coming out from behind the net, spinning, whirling, sapien, elevated, backhanded ender, I think is the terminology they used on the Versus call that year.
Adam, as someone who's not a Penguins fan, I feel it's only right to tell you that you're wrong about your own favorite moment for your favorite team.
Yeah.
How could it not be the Fleury save at the end of the game in game 7?
Dude, I just like, I don't know. I love like the home atmosphere. Like
That's fair. That's fair.
The Mellon Arena. Like, yeah, I know. Like the Fleury save is like the save. I get it. I know. But like when the Mellon Arena was hopping,
the glue.
I love that. The igloo, baby. My first.
Yeah, every team. I know most teams have something like that, but every team should have a nickname for their home stadium, arena, ballpark, whatever. Dude, that is somehow related back to the team. It's like at some point in time.
Well, so I agree with you 100% on that. and we're getting a little off topic here already, but that's showbiz, baby, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes. You write a show sheet just so you can go off of it, Adam. That's why.
Right. We talk about like the strict time restrictions that we have to do this today, and we're gonna go off the script anyway. It's because every arena is the same now. Everything's built to be the exact same. It's like, all right, like it's there's no character. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure the Mellon Arena, by the way, the Civic Arena, as it originally was named. And now this is my dad telling me this while we were boots on the ground for the Penguins Flyers game 2 last night. Not sure how accurate this is, but I kind of believe him. He said that was built as like an orchestra hall originally.
Wow.
Like it wasn't even like supposed to be for hockey, I guess, at first. So that's why like the acoustics are so good in there and why it was so loud and like the atmosphere was
unique. Exactly.
Yeah. So like you don't have that anymore, right? Like it's like the old Boston Garden, how like the press box, the press box was like literally hanging over top of the top section. You don't have that anymore. It's a damn shame. It really is.
No, absolutely. My favorite playoff moment. I'm not even going to go with a Vegas one because I don't really think it would be fair to rank any Vegas playoff moments in terms of iconic moments in the sport. I think my favorite Vegas one would be, didn't win the cup that year, but like Mark Stone had an overtime goal against the Avalanche when the Avalanche were like really, I think we were down 2-0 in the series and I tied up the series at 2. I just remember going nuts for that. I think there's something so cool about Patrick Kane winning the Stanley Cup, and nobody knows it for the first 3 seconds that he won the Stanley Cup. Like it's just such a cool.
The only guy in the entire
world going nuts, you know.
The only guy in the entire world who knows he just won the Stanley Cup in overtime. What a feeling!
Like how could you beat that?
That is pretty sick.
The only feeling in the world, Adam, that might beat scoring a goal in overtime to win the Stanley Cup, and no one knows besides you, is anytime you just get together with the fellas, you know, and just get the vibe together, get everyone just kind of locked in, have a good time, have a few drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, after having an 100+ point rookie season, Macklin Celebrini took his God-given right to exercise, going to hang out with the fellas up at BU, which is I would have to assume in Boston, right? You can't be in a suburb with that kind of a name.
I mean, yeah.
Boston. Well, I was trying to think of a funny name for where it was, and I couldn't think of anything. So I was like, well, I guess it just is in Boston.
Yeah, it is.
On BU. Regardless, should we get a little film on this before we break down our analysis?
If you got film on it, I'm ready to break it down here.
You know, I mean, Adam, it's Tuesday. It'd only be right if we watch some film. Let's take it away here. Take a look at Macklin Celebrini. You can kind of see him getting that keg standing right there. Yep. Now he gets dumped back over.
Mm-hmm.
Can we run that back? Oh, we can get that on run back. So yeah, you can really see him hanging there, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, have you done a keg stand in your life?
Yeah, I've done a keg stand. I've gotten up there. I've gotten vertical. It's not easy, right? Like I'm certainly not a chugger. Never claimed to be one. Don't try to be one. But I've done the keg stand. It's difficult, right? You're fighting gravity. You got a lot of air bubbles in there. It's tough for a guy who I'm sure is on the diet of every new NHLer these days. Like he's probably drinking like a combination of water, BioSteel, chocolate milk, and his own like distilled piss or something like that.
Yeah.
For the recommendation of his dietitian on just repeat all year long because of the grueling NHL season. So I mean, that's awesome for him that he finally gets to get one in. It only makes it that much tougher, and you can see on his face that he's really battling through it. So I'm glad you had the film on that. Have you done a keg stand? Surely you have.
No, I have not. That was one of those things with Crohn's disease where I think I was always able to not suck him to the peer pressure and just know, hey, that's not your lane. Like that would not go down well for you.
Mm-hmm.
I must say though, because I guess I can kind of appreciate it from the day drinking element in a way, because I mean clearly it is that's a daylight game being played out there. There's no stadium lights at him. There's no cloud, not a cloud in the sky, you could say.
Correct.
We all have those moments in time, and Adam, we're really starting to get them because we're right at that like 23 to 25 age range where it's like, okay, now you're not like looking up at how cool the athletes are. They're starting to be your age more so now. It's like, damn, Adam, I've sat with you and lounged on the couch for hours eating McDonald's and other things of this world that athletes would not, just watching the NHL playoffs, and we're like, wow, like that fucking guy is 3 years younger than us, and he's out there playing on the second line in the NHL playoffs or whatever it is, given the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you feel bad about yourself because you're like, wow, this person is doing this with their life. I am not doing this with my life at the moment. Then you see them day drinking, Adam, and realizing that they have some of the same struggles that me and you do, and that their bodies aren't perfectly put together. That like even Macklin Celebrini, for as great as his rookie year was, even if he has a couple too many beers before 2 p.m., he's going to give a little and try and hold it back.
Yeah, I think this is the awesome thing about college hockey in particular, right? Because, Macklin and we didn't play at the same level. Macklin didn't have you calling his games, right? Like, I'm sure they got somebody on the legitimate payroll for that. Or if they don't, then he's at least getting a credit or two for it. But, nowadays people want to talk about the difference between playing college hockey, playing junior hockey, going straight to pro, all that kind of crap, right? If you want to have something to sell a program on, like, I don't think that anything really beats college hockey, right? Like, doesn't matter what level you play at, you learn what I think is probably one of the more valuable lessons that you could have coming out of a hockey locker room, whatever you want to call it. Don't lose on Saturday. That might be the biggest rule that there could be, right? And, as you transition into the NHL, in Macklin Celebrini's case here, that becomes a little bit less relevant, right? Because you're playing all the time now. But the sentiment of it remains the same, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because when you win on Saturday, the vibes are just like through the roof. You know what I mean? It's just like they go
down. Victory Monday in the NFL.
Yeah, they go down a little bit easier, right? And so you can kind of see that this year, right? They had a good environment in the locker room in San Jose, and they're really starting to trend in the win column. They made a real valiant push this year. Like, I think they can really make the playoffs next year. It helps so much to have your leaders lead from the front in that respect, right? If I'm Ryan Reeves, if I'm Adam Gaudette, if I'm Barclay Goodrow, and I'm one of those more depth pieces, if I'm Zach Ostapchuk on that team, right? And I see this guy who just had 115 points. He just broke the Sharks' single season point record held by Joe Thornton. Jumbo Joe Thornton previously held that record. His landlord, Macklin Celebrini, or former landlord. Don't know if he's still underneath his roof.
He no longer after that
season. He takes that thing down in the National Hockey League, and then he turns around here less than a calendar week later, and he's boots on the ground. Is that an Anthony Edwards Georgia Bulldog jersey he's wearing too?
I believe so, and it's a backwards tam. You can't beat the combo.
Yeah, man. Like, he's going full backwards on the keg. Like, how do you beat that?
Oh, you can't beat that. It's an incredible style.
I'm in that locker room. I'm fired up, man. That's what it's all about right there. That's what it's all about. You're right. He deserved that. So that's my 2 cents on it. It's like, it's really refreshing to see. And
yeah, let the kids have fun. It's also like,
it's like,
not that it doesn't happen. Don't get me wrong, but you don't see Caleb Williams getting shit-faced a week after he wraps up an incredible rookie year on the Bears. I mean, I know it was his second year this year when they made the playoffs and stuff, but like, you don't see young stars of big sports teams often getting after it. So it's just funny from that regard too, especially because when you do see it typically, and this is across any sport, not singling out a sport, usually there's some bad headlines to come around with it. It's just seeing a guy out having fun, doing a keg stand, wearing a funny hat backwards, rocking an ant jersey after a huge 1-1 tie up in that series. I mean, it's great to see. It's good for the sport.
It is. And I think the part that makes it like the best is that even though, of course we'll never know for certain, like, you just know that like Jumbo Joe Thornton is probably just as fired up as everybody else to see that. He's probably just like, fucking rights, man.
Probably asking when they're going back.
Yeah, man. Seriously. He's like, why didn't you ask me to come? Like, something like along those lines.
Yeah, you've been in my roof that long, and you got
nothing. That's awesome. It's really awesome to see. Really awesome to see.
Adam, what do you say we take a little mosey around the NHL playoffs now? We got 8 series out in the first round. Should we break them down?
Let's do it, baby.
All right, let's switch over and hit it. Welcome back on in here to Having Fun Hockey. Adam, it's time for that part of the show where we there's no autopsies yet, but there's definitely a couple of cases that we can diagnose a little bit, start to take the temperature on. One of those being, Adam, your Pittsburgh Penguins. I heard later in the show that may have been recorded earlier that you were boots on the ground for Game 2 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. Adam, not my series to talk about. So let me ask you this. What are you seeing out of the Penguins so far that has resulted in that 2-0 series deficit? And I mean, this is the dumb question of all dumb questions to ask a fan of the team. But Adam, is there a path back for the Penguins to go out and win this Eastern Conference quarterfinals? So start on either point of those that you would like, obviously.
Yeah, I have a lot. I have a lot on my mind about this series. It's pretty straightforward, in my opinion. The Penguins have been out coached. They've been out schemed. They've been out disciplined so far in the first two games. Right, like all that's happened is that Philadelphia had a very clear game plan, and the Penguins, no sugarcoating it, have just refused to adapt enough to try to beat it. Right, so. I think that there were some small changes from game 1 to game 2. Yes, I was in the arena for game 2, the complete polar opposite of game 1. Whenever I was 30,000 feet in the air on a bird coming back, cross continentally from Arizona. But anyway. The main thing to me, Jack, the Flyers are trapping it up. This is the most boring series in the entire playoffs. Maybe, definitely. Like, LA is really trying to play boring and give Philly.
We'll see how that snooze fest goes in game 2.
It's a complete, like, I was kind of making fun of Ottawa and Carolina, and I'm getting a little ahead of us right here, but this is the most boring hockey I've ever watched. The Flyers are playing a 1-1-3 trap through the neutral zone. So they just camp everybody back on their own blue line. And from what I'm seeing, the Penguins are just ridiculously stubborn. They're ridiculously stubborn, trying to play like all this like East-West game. And there's just like, even when they do dump the puck in, it's just not smart. You know what I mean? Like, they're still getting outnumbered.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows that whenever somebody plays a neutral zone trap, like, you've got to find a way to move with speed through it, whether that's with possession, but more than likely on the dump in. But you got to have bodies going to the puck. Like, you've got to retrieve that puck. Penguins aren't doing that, and a lot of the time they're not even trying to dump it in anyway. I think that the bottom lines, like the fourth line, honestly, has had a lot of the offensive zone time. Game 2, they drew some penalties in the offensive zone, possessed the puck down low. That's all well and good. It's just concerning when, like, your power play goes like 0 for 5 in game 2. Just no signs of life. Like, can't even possess the puck in the zone. Just they're just allowing themselves to get frustrated with the game that they're trying to play. I think they need to play a little bit more puck support. They need to be smarter about their puck decisions as well. There's a lot of cute stuff at the blue lines, both blue lines, their own blue line and the offensive zone, that is just, quite frankly, unacceptable. And the Girard and Letang pairing is just, it's not passing the eye test either, and hasn't been for quite some time. It kind of makes you wonder, like, did we really need to trade Brett Kulak to Colorado for Sam Girard? It seemed like Brett Kulak was actually kind of a stable figure and kind of calmed things down and made Chris Letang not look as.
I think Sam Girard was also kind of always a bit of a scapegoat out there as well at times. Not that he was necessarily deserving of it, but I think he kind of had that rep a little bit.
You say Sam Girard?
Yeah.
I think Sam Girard's a good player. It's just that it's not like, he plays very similar to Chris Letang, and I don't think you want to Chris Letang.
Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, you need to have a defensive defenseman to balance.
Yeah. So it's just
center fielder, stay at home, patrol.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good mix, and so the Philadelphia Flyers have executed Rick Tocchet's game plan very well, and all they've done is wait for the Penguins to beat themselves. The fact that the Penguins gave up a shorthanded goal to Garnett Hathaway, who had 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points through 66 games in the regular season this year, tells you everything you need to know about that game. So yeah, I mean, there's really not much else to say. The Penguins are either going to continue to be stubborn and lose the series quite handily, or Jack, they can decide to play with a little bit of heart, play with a little bit of effort, and in my opinion, support the puck a little bit better. Is really, you know, it's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this could be
General, but
a hot
yeah,
take. This could be a bit of a hot take, Adam. But if I'm a hockey fan in general, not necessarily a fan of either of these two teams, and I'm considering betting on game 3 of the series, right, Adam? I'm not betting on game 3 of the series. Whoever I think is winning game 3, I'm just going straight on through and I'm placing the series winner bet. I don't think you mess around with game 3. I think you're at a point now where, if the Flyers go up 3-0, it's over, and you're getting better odds on winning the series, winning 2 games, than you are on 1 game. And the Penguins, obviously it's not a foregone conclusion. If you win game 3, you win the series. But obviously everyone knows, like, there's a certain precedence or importance that goes towards those odd numbers games in these series that goes across any sport. Like there is a transition and pivot off winning the odd games.
yeah.
You're in a tenfold better spot if you go out there and win game 3. Because obviously, if you don't, you're probably done.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
You gotta feel. I don't know. I'm a big law of averages fan because I think you can apply it across any sport. I kind of view all sports through a similar lens as a fan, and obviously, there's any time you don't score in the playoffs, something will be made of it. Like that's what the media is going to use to fill the next day and a half until the game. Like, take Vegas, for example. You don't score in that first period against Utah. I go on Twitter, every single beat writer. It's now been 9 playoff periods since the Golden Knights have scored a 5-on-5 goal. And it's like, well, shit, we haven't even been in the playoffs in 10 months. I forgot that existed,
Mm-hmm.
Or it's the other lens where it's like hey, you're due to get a bounce. And I think with a team like the Penguins, who played a more consistent game throughout the whole entire season, going Oscar to Charlie, not just hot stretches on the Flyers, I think you're betting on that to bounce back a little bit.
We'll see. It's going to come down to mental fortitude at this point because,
how much of sports is mental, man? I know that we don't have all the time in the world to go far off, but man, I could get into it talking about baseball too, and just going up and looking at your average every single day. Every sport's the same way. That's so mental.
They like I said, they've been out disciplined so far. So that's what it comes down to. Not in terms of like maybe the penalty box, right? Because they had the advantage in power plays so far, but just in terms of not getting frustrated as the game goes on. Like, I think that you just gotta be able to push through that. Like, and not just mentally, they got to find a way to push through something physically too. They got to get to the inside. They got to get to the middle of the ice because even though we outsogged them last game, had like 27 sogs, probably like 5 of them came from within 20 feet of the net. It was kind of pathetic, honestly, right? Like, you get held to like 17 sogs in the first game.
There is no one who is more used to a Peter DeBoer spray and pray playoff method than Jack O'Rourke. Don't you worry, on both sides of the ice. That man, not that he's there, obviously, but that's that playoff approach, getting him off from the outside.
Like I said, it's just been boring hockey so far. Like, the Penguins, they're just packing it in. Pens aren't doing anything to really try to get past it, and they're just waiting for the Penguins to make mistakes. And when they do, they have been opportunistic. So that's been the gist of the series so far. We'll see what happens.
Adam, moving on over to the other series that is through to completely out in the East. A crazy ending to last night's game between Carolina and Ottawa. Adam, I actually was at a playoff game last night myself as well. I took in game 2 of the Cavs playoff series. I hit 4 of my 5 bets there, so we had a little bit of room in the cap space to play with. Anytime James Harden's on the floor, it's just you take all of his overs and you're going to make a lot of money. Because that man hogs the basketball. But regardless, I happened to throw a couple more doubloons than I usually would on the Senators to win that game. So, Adam, I will tell you my range of emotions throughout that overtime, the offsides call, bringing it back, the Canes ending up to win anyways. So that's just where I wanted to start, because obviously we could talk about offsides, not offsides, the first 2 games as a whole. I'm going to bring you back to the general sports lens. Adam, how hard is it? As a guy who's played in games where you've won in overtime before, you've watched games as a Penguins fan where you've won big overtime games. When you score in overtime and a game ends, the weight of the world comes off your shoulders, right? As a team, as a fan, like everything, it's just like whew, I can breathe now. This thing is finally over. All of the credit in the world to that team for having a game-winning goal in overtime called off. Your team celebrates, they play the horns, the fans go nuts, and you go out there and you still get the job done. I think people don't necessarily understand the mental side of how hard that is to do. Like I just think of like Miami, Florida, they get the pass interference on Ohio State in the 0-2 national championship game. They're going nuts. Bam, flag comes out of nowhere. You run it back, you lose the game. Like the wind is just so out of your sails. How about that team finding a way to win, despite the fact they were the better team almost the whole entire night?
I think that encapsulates the way that the Hurricanes play all the time, no matter what. As I had just previously mentioned, I thought I've been kind of dogging this series on paper. Like I expected it to be the most boring coming into the playoffs, and outside of the disaster of the Penguins and Flyers series, I think it's incredibly boring, in my opinion, because the Hurricanes are just like that team all the time. I think they're used to it, Jack. Like they don't change the way that they play. Like, no wonder Mikko Rantanen wanted to get the hell out of there. Rod Brind'Amour tried to tell him to dump it in every single time he crossed the red line, go forecheck, get it back, and shoot the puck from everywhere that he was standing on the ice whenever it was on his stick.
Gets traded as the greatest playoffs, maybe not literally, but maybe of all time.
Yeah, like I don't think I'd want to play for Rod Brind'Amour either. Here's a team that plays zero fun offense. They're like the opposite of the Islanders. It's like the Islanders.
I wonder, do you think Rod would ever watch having fun hockey?
I hope he goes back and watches this one.
Because he doesn't have a lot of fun. Like he might be the antithesis of this program.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as a very like fun guy. He seems like an incredible hardo. But anyway, yeah, like they're the opposite. They're the complete counterpoint of boring whenever it comes to like the Islanders of the last 5 years compared to the Carolina Hurricanes of now. Like the Islanders, it was like, let's play zero offense and try to win every game 1-0, 2-1 on the heels of Ilya Sorokin.
Yeah, every game is a war of attrition.
The Hurricanes is a war of attrition on the other side, which is every single time we have the puck in the offensive zone and we have any opportunity to shoot it, we're going to shoot it at the net. And then whenever it hits the goalie, if he freezes it, and we'll just, start it back up after the faceoff. But if not, then we'll try as hard as we can to get it back. And if we do get it back in the offensive zone, we'll shoot it again, and we'll just keep repeating that. If we don't get it back, we'll forecheck until we do. If that happens to be in the neutral zone, then we'll take it back. As soon as we're over that center red line, we're going to dump it back in, and then we're going to rinse and repeat. And we're going to try to outsog you 45-25 every single game. And we're just going to bank on the fact that we're going to score maybe 1-2 goals at 5-on-5 each game doing that. And then otherwise, we'll get our licks on the power play and everything like that, and they do have skilled players. So their power play is impressive, right? Like they've got that to their name for sure. But it's just such a boring style of hockey. It really is. And when it comes to the playoffs, I think it kind of lets a team like Ottawa kind of hang in there a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
It might sound crazy, but
they just went to overtime. I don't think it sounds that crazy.
Yeah. And so it's just tough because it is the war of attrition, right? So I don't see Ottawa winning this series now, only because, man, they're just a little thin on the back end right now, right? They've got injuries that are really piling up. Like, how much can you ride Shabbat and Sanderson and Linus Ullmark? Linus Ullmark had a phenomenal game too.
I think we got to give a podcast shout out to Dennis Gilbert for the big minutes though last night.
Yeah. He was out there for sure, and thank God Taylor Hall didn't score when he was coming in on him one-on-one. I was watching that in double OT, and I was like, please don't let it be Taylor Hall, number one, because this is an anti-Taylor Hall podcast.
Unless he wants to come on. If he wants to come on, then we're cool.
Yeah, sure. But also, I saw him coming in on Dennis. I was like, oh boy. But yeah, man, he was out there. He's throwing the weight around. They had Lassie Thompson in there, who's first round pick of theirs from a couple years ago, doesn't have the most NHL experience, but they got him out there. Nicholas Montempalo, the Finn, people will remember him from the Four Nations tournament. They've really had to lean on pairing like Shabbat and Sanderson with like all those guys, though. Like it's like every other shift. It's like Sanderson with whoever and then Shabbat with whoever.
Yeah.
It's just like rinse and repeat. It's like one of the two of those guys is out there all the time for them. I think Sanderson was at like close to 40 minutes, if not more, last night in that double OT game.
Duncan Keith.
Yeah, I know, right? It was crazy. So, I mean, yeah, like what is there to say about Carolina? There's really not much, right? Like, I don't know. The thing
you're going to be watching for a while.
It's going to come down to if the Senators can have their star players make plays. Like Tim Stützle hit the post in overtime. He had an unreal move on a nice drop pass from Brady Tkachuk off the rush, and he just whacked it off the post, and it went right through the crease and out. To me, like they had to win that game to have a chance.
I think it's a much different story if you're 1-1 going to Ottawa, but
they haven't lost on home ice yet. But that just feels like one that kind of takes the wind out of your sails, right? Like you hit a post, you had the game right in your hands there, and now you're down 2-0, and you just absolutely emptied the tank there in game 2, and you come out with nothing to show for it. So it's a tough break for the Senators, but as long as Linus Ullmark keeps playing the way that he is, they will have a chance. I'm not going to write him off completely because Linus Ullmark has looked, to his credit, he's looked phenomenal so far through too. Besides the squeaker, he had that squeaker.
Those will happen though. Vegas kind of
in game 1, but since then he's tightened it up. And we have to talk about the friggin' penalty shot too. What was your reaction to that?
I'm always a huge fan of shooting instead of dangling on a penalty shot. So I mean, I don't have. Are you saying like the move? Oh, you're saying just it getting called in general?
Yeah, like after
you're asking like what I thought of like the move going in. I'm like, I would go for the shot.
Yeah, after the offsides and everything though.
I mean, that's how the rules are written, right? I mean, that's what it is. I mean, is it? I think there's no one in the world that will argue you that somewhere it's not inherently dumb that, like the play, if we just said the play is dead, why are we now awarding a penalty shot for something that happened after? You're like, okay, yeah, that's stupid. But at the same time, like that's the rule. They didn't write the rule last night. That's been the rule for as long as we've been watching hockey. So,
yep.
I mean, you can't be that mad about it. And it didn't impact the outcome of the game.
No, at the end of the day, it didn't. Kind of poetic that Martin.
Honestly, you could argue that was borderline the best bounce you could get if you're the Senators at that moment in time. Like just the juju you're getting off of 1, the game not being over, hey, in the first place, and then 2, you get to stop on the penalty shot, and with no pie, we went back to 5-on-5, correct?
Yeah, after that.
Yeah, that honestly probably couldn't have been a better bounce, all things considered, for Ottawa.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't have been able to tell that the game was still going on the way that the John Bucci-Gross called it. Like, I don't think that Bucci's like, I don't really have anything against Bucci, but it's just like, again, it's like, here's the worldwide leader with their coverage. And like John Bucci-Gross sounds like he's at a funeral when Linus Ullmark makes the game-saving save in overtime on a penalty shot. But yeah.
That's ESPN. We're not a Bristol show.
No, I like the way that you said it though, where you were like, well, that's the rule. Dave Jackson could take a lesson from you because when they bring Dave Jackson on, it's almost like Dave Jackson never has an opinion. And Dave Jackson has an inability to do what you just did, which is say, all right, here's rule 38.7. I think that's what it is off the top of my head. But like, when I'm watching the game and I'm like, why is this a penalty shot? I get a tweet from Elliot Friedman that is simply just a screenshot of the rule. I read it and I go, oh, that makes sense. And then like a minute later, the worldwide leader finally gets Dave Jackson to plug in his Ethernet cable and come onto the broadcast. And it's like,
well, do you
and he just like can't get to the point and say like, this is what you couldn't just read it off and be like, this is the rule. Like, come on, dude.
Here's the issue with it, Adam. there's no good rules analyst in the world. Let's just put that out there first. Actually, that's not true. Tyler Lamarck on Black Dog Hockey in the 2021-22 ACHA season, one of the best to ever do it as a rules analyst. Let me say that. But outside of him, like, usually at least you have a guy like, take like Wycliffe Gene Steratore, for example, right?
Mhm.
Gene Steratore is going to go out there, and he does football and college basketball, which I will never understand. Like, did you ref both? I don't know. But regardless, Gene Steratore is going to give his homer answer in favor of the ref's original ruling to back up where their heads were at every single time. And you might say, hey, Jack, that's really stupid. And it is, but I'll say this. At least Gene Steratore is giving you an opinion. Whether it's right or wrong, he's going to back up. He's going to back the blue a little bit in the way. It's almost like he's in charge of, like, it's like when the league puts out the, hey, here was this call that was messed up. They're not going to kill the referee, but they're going to say, yeah, like, here's kind of what maybe should have happened. Gene Steratore will give you that a little bit. Dave Jackson just, like, he basically just fucks around for 45 seconds until they have the call. Like, he just makes stuff up. Like, he doesn't even, like, pretend to take a side. He just says what happens on the play, which everyone who's been watching for the last 2 minutes while you connected your Ethernet, as you just said, Adam, already knows what happened during the play.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like does a tango around both sides for 30 seconds. Like he's not even, you can't even call him a rules analyst because he like Gene Steratore, bad rules analyst, yes, but he's a rules analyst because he analyzes the rules. He does do that by trade. You can't say the same for DJ.
No, like you're definitely right. You know, like some of these guys are really loyal to the ref union, right? Like,
it's their boys. They're gonna back. If I was in the spot, I would do the exact same thing, as would you, as would probably anyone.
Yeah, like when Tim Peel got caught on a hot mic saying that he just wanted to give, I think it was the Predators an even up. Like he was like, oh, like I just want to get him an even up, like for no real reason. He just wanted to get things square, right? Like when he got caught on the hot mic for that and eventually got fired from the NHL for doing it, like Gene Steratore probably would have been, he would probably go on the air and be like, well, you know what, like, you know, I would have done that too, or like I did that too in my career. Like that's just what you do. Like Tim's not out of line, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like if Tim Peel was caught on the hot mic, God forbid, on an ESPN production here in the playoffs in 2026, you'd still have Dave Jackson like fumbling his Cialis with his glass of red wine and slurring his words all over the place on the
like, well, the thing that people don't understand is that like the wiretap. Well, if you don't, you have to use the first 20 seconds of the wiretap. If you don't use the first 20 seconds of the wiretap, so we got to know when to use the wiretap.
Yeah, it was just it's so brutal to watch him. So that was tough, and like it's crazy to me too. Like, you know, they ruled that offside because they said Jordan Stahl didn't have full possession. Like, I forget what the exact terminology that they used for it was, but they said like he had possession, but he didn't have control of the puck. So he put himself offsides. Like, how can you have possession but not have control?
Yeah.
Those two things didn't
really
want
to talk with that stuff too much, and we do as a sport now, because I don't want it to be, Adam, I don't want to be going to a game watching our kids play hockey in 15 years and be like, oh, like was that a hockey move to go on sides? You know, like the whole like catching. The most important element of football, Adam, that they added in the last 100 years was the forward pass. Newt Rockne, Sandusky, Ohio. That's where they started it, right in this home state. And you don't even know what a catch is anymore. Like hockey should never get to this point where you don't know what is what. Because it's tight, but like at the same time, you're like, how do you constitute? I think you had control, but you don't have possession.
I think in my mind, the easiest way you do it is you got to say the puck's got to be on your stick. Like if your feet are going over the line before the puck, it's got to be on your stick.
Yeah.
And if under those circumstances, which is the way that I think it would probably be best, then yes, Jordan Stahl put himself offside yesterday. So it's all a moot point, really, at the end of the day, because Jordan Martinook scored anyway. So who the hell really cares? But yeah, just kind of ridiculous. One, that the review took that long. Two, that a bunch of people went home to their families in Raleigh, North Carolina last night and thought that they saw the end of the game, but really didn't. And then didn't get a chance to come back into the building to actually see the end of it, were in bed and had a cup of tea and watched Jordan Martinook score the game winner after they thought that Mark Jankowski did, and 3 that Dave Jackson's still employed by the worldwide leader. So
Good
a
for
lot
DJ.
to unpack in that game, even though I said it's the most boring series besides Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
I mean, honestly, I do think that in terms of talking about an interesting series that one of our teams is in, and that game last night, those were 2 of the biggest stories we got so far out of the NHL playoffs for sure. Other 2 games on the East side, I guess we'll hit these a little bit quicker because we don't totally know where these series are going to be by the time that this is published. Canadians up 1-0 on the Lightning after a shocking Game 1 win. Come from behind, I believe as well. Slavkovsky's the story of the day. Were all 3 of his goals on the power play?
That you're taking the words out of my mouth, but I think they were.
But like that's ridiculous. So I guess let's start there, because for the knowledge that we do have, the Lightning are up 1-0, 8:24 left in the first period of Game 2, as far as I can tell. So I guess if you want to get technical, maybe it will look closer to 1-1. Still a lot of time left in that one, though. Adam, do you take Game 1 as a everything? And mind you, also, you're someone who was high on this team entering the playoffs. We did a whole segment on that young core about a week or 2 ago. Is that every possible thing went right on special teams and your best player had his best possible game, we're going to steal one the way you almost steal it with the goalie sometimes? Or are the Canadians a real threat to win the series?
Well, the Canadians will be a threat as long as teams keep putting them on the power play, which is exactly what you saw in Game 1. And, we talked in a previous episode about how their guys are arriving and all the big names that they've got, right? You've got Suzuki, you've got Caulfield, you've got Hudson, you have Slavkovsky. Well, you put all those guys on one power play unit together and let them go on the power play 4 or 5 times a game, then we are probably going to see a lot of goals from them. And the Lightning took a billion penalties. I think they were like all in the offensive zone too. And John Cooper let him hear it in the post-game conference. He aired his team out and was like, well, we took 4 offensive zone penalties. Jake Gensel slashes a guy directly in the teeth with under a minute left in regulation. And then the Canadians come out and win it basically immediately in overtime. Yeah, I mean, the Lightning did it to themselves as far as I'm concerned.
No,
right?
I think you hit so well on the 4. I mean, because obviously, like there are little niche things in every single sport that are like the most infuriating things of all time. Obviously, in hockey, offensive zone penalties being one of them. It's like the meme of like the deranged Goofy where he's like, "I'll fucking do it again," and he's like shoot like that. Like that's what it was. Like they just like it was shoot myself in the foot. Ow, that hurt. Okay, get a Band-Aid. Bam, right back down at it. Like that's not a style you can play. And it's also, I mean, you mentioned a bit John Cooper talking about it after the game, but it's one thing that I think undisciplined hockey, and don't get me wrong, this team got swept by the Blue Jackets 1,000 years ago now, or whatever it was. But I think undisciplined hockey is very uncharacteristic of this last decade run of how good the Tampa Bay Lightning have been. Like it's one of those teams where like I always characterize the Steelers like this growing up for you in Pittsburgh. Like that's a team who they're not going to beat themselves. You are going to have to go out there and do it.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. The discipline is the key for the Lightning, right? Like they got rocked by the Blue Jackets, like you were talking about, and it's like it was almost at that point like they were like, all right, we need to dial in. Won their cups, good for them. Lose in the Cup final, going for 3 in a row, and then Florida kind of bullied them a little bit. I think everybody would agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Like they weren't playing hockey; it was just a melee, and they just got bullied, right? Like they.
It was like a Celtics into a Bad Boys Pistons type transition.
Yeah, like that's not their game, right? And so now, not in the same fashion, but it's just a parade to the penalty box for dumb stuff. And the Canadians are just simply too good to put them on the power play a bunch. And even the Canadians felt that a little bit too, right? Like that Game 1 was a special teams fest all around. I thought the Lightning had they were scoring on the power play too. So the Lightning would probably prefer to, if I'm John Cooper, I'd rather play 5-on-5 than just trade power plays all day.
Absolutely.
They're deeper than the Canadians, in my opinion. Now, Hedman being injured is right. Like they could really use him back. Destu, it got hurt in game 1, I think. So that's kind of a tough loss for them. He's been a good ad, but nevertheless, I still think the Lightning will win this series, even though, that was kind of a disaster in game 1 for them. But I think they'll be all right. They're up 1-0 right now in the first period. They just got to play 5-on-5. If they keep giving them power plays, there's not much more else to be said. The Canadians will make you pay.
I feel like game 1 also, this just goes across sports. It doesn't need to be this series exactly, or just hockey even. It's such a feel-out game. Like, I feel like you don't truly get the extent of both. Well, obviously, because you're figuring out your game plan still. It is game 1. It's a feel-out game. But, like, I take it back to that same Vegas-Colorado series I mentioned in the intro where Stone had the game winner in overtime in game 4 and Vegas ended up winning in 6 after dropping game 1 and game 2. Like, that was the year where Fleury started the whole entire playoff run, and then DeBoer was like, hey, Robin Leonard, game 1 against the Avalanche, and they got literally skunked like 8-0 at home in game 1. And then that goes a flip basically after that. Like, sometimes game 1, and it can develop into, like, it delves into those, like, special teams fest where things are just mucked up the whole entire time and you don't get the most accurate representation of the game. Adam, one of the other so I was going to say that the Ottawa-Carolina game was the craziest game of the playoff run so far. I don't know if that's true, dude, because I think everyone, especially us having a bunch of friends from Buffalo and, like, them never going to the playoffs for so long, outside of your own teams, I think it's no secret that everyone has a little bit of an extra juice for the Sabres to go on a bit of a run this year.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, what were they? Were they on 3 in that game at one point? Entering with 10 minutes left?
Down 2-0 with like 8 minutes left.
And the Buffalo Sabres, take me away, Adam. Storm on back. To quote Rick Jeanneret, who I saw his wife bang the drum to "Let's Go Buffalo" before the game. That was super good. But Adam, these kids are good. ... Scary good.
Scary good. I don't know about you, Jack, because my team's in the dance this year. I know your team's in the dance this year. But like you said, I think everybody's kind of like happy for the good people of Buffalo and Chippewa Street there to get back into the dance. It's been since 2011, since the great Tyler Ennis was on that team and a key part of getting them into the playoffs. They're finally in the dance. And like now, like, again, like my team's in the dance, but like I still find myself putting on some Goo Goo Dolls. Like I'm singing along to Better Days. And there's
the Better Days stuff is so cool, dude.
Yeah, there's just like something in the air, right? They got guys rollerblading all over the place, beating up Cam Neely dummies. I just saw that they are blading downtown again today. Like literally, like they're blading around downtown and people are rolling their windows down and giving these guys high fives out of their cars. And it's like they're going down the line of the bench, like for a celly. They're just skating by, high fives all over the place. Vibes unbelievable. Let's talk about a couple other things from game 1 here, okay? There's a melee going on right now, by the way. Montreal, Tampa, just quick interjection. There's an absolute melee. Like everybody's going at it here. Darren Radish's bald head is all over my screen trying to grab somebody on the Canadians.
Is he related to Taylor Radish?
I think he is. Brandon Hagel is looks like a rabid.
Brandon Hagel, who was traded for Taylor Radish. Very quickly.
Is fighting Jake Evans. Nobody has their gloves off, but they're clearly fighting. I'm sorry. This is thrilling.
No, this is great. But Adam, I will say very quickly while we're on the topic, there are those moments in sports that are so scary and like, wow, like I thought someone just died. I will never forget Jake Evans in the playoffs.
Mark Scheifele.
Yeah, I actually thought he died when that happened.
Yeah, that was controversial. Good physical play by Mark on that, in my opinion. Anyway, back to Buffalo. So once they finally wrangled all these drunk bastards and got them into the arena for the game.
By the third period.
Yeah, drop the puck. Like, dude, I was excited to see the environment. They come out. They're blaring Money for Nothing as they skate between the double swords. Like unbelievable stuff. You talked about Rick Jenneret's wife banging the drum. Let's go Buffalo. We haven't even had puck drop yet. The 50-50 raffle at that point, Jack, I think was touching 150 bananas already. Yeah.
How much of that, if you had to guess, came courtesy of Dave Wagon?
I don't want to out Dave on anything, so I'm going to refrain from a dollar figure. All I'll say is that the 50-50 peaked at $392,000 in Buffalo game 1. $392,000.
At the end of the playoffs, they can pay their way out of getting Austin Matthews out of Toronto.
All of a sudden, like, there's going to be clean streets and brand new paved roads in downtown Buffalo if they continue at this rate.
The renovation to the key bump is going to be unbelievable.
You almost like don't want to renovate it though, right? Like we talked about how some of these
character
don't have character. That's an arena with character. Like when I look up to the 300 section and I see "Don't Stop Believin'" signs, reminiscent of, like the Jason Pominville, like "Welcome to Pominville" type stuff. Like that's awesome. I love that.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, yeah, like I thought they were the better team. They're a good example of a team that just kept going, didn't get frustrated, right? Like the Bruins were opportunistic, but really Swayman was standing on his head. He was making a billion saves. It took like 30 plus shots for the Sabres to finally beat him. So they were very much, getting their chances. They just had to stick with it, and they did. And like it might have just been like the hand of Rick Jeanneret coming down and making sure that they got that game won, because, dude, like Tage TNT Thompson, sick player, making unreal plays. Like you need your best players to be your best players in the playoffs. He stepped up, unreal for him. But dude, like I think I had goosebumps when Matthias Samuelsson scored. Like,
oh, the wall, that was crazy, dude.
And like the boys, like all coming onto the pile on top of him,
like it's Miracle and Mark Johnson just scored and they're clearing the bench.
Dude, yeah, he jumps into the glass, and then like Darlene is like fired up, like so far. Like him and McLeod, you can see him on like the edge of the Sally pile, like they're just like grabbing everybody,
just being a part of it.
Dude, it was unbelievable. I'm so happy that they won that game one. I hope they win the series. I picked them to win the series. I think they're a better team than Boston. I think their D core is just unreal. And they've got guys up and down the lineup, man. Like they're just a good team. So shout out to Buffalo. They got puck drop coming up here soon, as we sit here on Tuesday, April 21st at 7:47 p.m.
Eastern Standard as well. We do observe daylight savings time as a program. I know not every program does. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna say, funny enough, somehow out of just that crazy win for Buffalo in game one, my biggest note or comment for you is actually just how infuriating it is, because like, I don't know, the Red Sox don't think I've ever been bad my whole entire life at any point in time. The Patriots are bad for like 2.5 years, and you get Drake May in town. You get this mini little rebuild sculpture, whatever. Marchand's out, Bergeron's out, and like you find Hagens and Fraser Mitten, and like you just know you're there. Like obviously Pasta's still there, and Swayman had a damn near Vezina caliber year, but like wow, okay, the next group of young kids is already there for that. Like they're gonna be really fun for a long time. But I think it's Buffalo's moment, though, 100%. And I think the great point you made too, and like obviously like it's the playoffs. You have your guys who are heroes who don't necessarily go out there and have 80-point regular seasons, but when you do get a boost and when it is your guy who does it, like when it's like, okay, where are we going to turn? We're finally in the playoffs. Like Tage doesn't have the playoff experience, but that's your guy. When he goes out there and gets you that first one, and like you can tell, like not saying anything against this because I actually love it, but like Mark Stone scores a big goal to take the lead for Vegas, pounds the, and he's a very expressive guy, as we all know, pounds the wall, high five, whatever, like he scored 1,000 playoff goals in his career. Like Tage Thompson scoring that goal, he was like, oh my God, this is the biggest goal of my life. This is the biggest goal of every single person in this building's life. Mm-hmm. Let's go fucking take him right now. Like that is so fun. And like they're like you said it best with like the you gotta believe signs upstairs or don't stop believing, whatever. Like we've had it in both of our cities. Like when there is a playoff run that you know is special, even if it's not necessarily a long playoff run, not saying the Sabres won't be, but like when it is a special year, there's the chills and the vibes, dude. There's literally nothing like it. That's why you watch and play sports.
Yeah, man. They're always, the fans are always unreal up there. Like I've been to regular season games there. It's awesome even for a regular season game. So you can just imagine like, the pressure's been building and they've just been waiting for it to pop there for the playoffs. So yeah, just unbelievable. The other thing I'll say too is like another reason why I hate the worldwide leader. because MSG, they've got a local feed for the first round games, right? And when you watch that compared to the ESPN broadcast, the difference in crowd noise is shameful from
Oh,
ESPN.
really?
Dude, you listen to the crowd pop on MSG, it is in your face. It's exactly what you want. Like you want to hear everything in the building. You want to hear the people going nuts. You want to feel like you're in there while it's shaking. And on ESPN, like they score, and like the first thing that happens is you can just hear the volume of the arena just go right down. It's like it gets muted out, and then all right, now our announcer is calling it, and that's what we want you to hear. It's like, no, we want to be in, we want to feel like we're in the building. That's,
you want to be in
yeah.
the key bump for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, flipping over to the Western Conference, only one series that is through to as we record. Look at Torts down there. My guy, 8-0-1 in Vegas. Wow. Going to start it off with the Stars evening up a series at 1 against Minnesota. I mean, obviously, this was a lot of people's, I think it's fair to say this is a lot of people's most anticipated series in terms of level of play, matchup you're getting in game 1. I think if you've ever wanted to get drunk in your life, now I'm not sure if you have or not. I don't know if you partake in alcohol. If you did, though, anytime they said throughout one of these first 2 games, these teams should never meet before the conference semifinals. If you took a shot every single time they said that, your BAC would be comparable to Eldrick. It might be the Eldrick. You might be the Eldrick of the week next week.
Yeah, you might as well just like skip the booze, go right to the pharmaceuticals. In that sense. So I've got a couple thoughts on this for you. I think I'm in the minority here, honestly, and I'd love to get your opinion. But like, and maybe the voices on Twitter are just kind of like louder than the culmination of actual NHL fans that there are. But I kind of really like the current playoff format. I kind of really like it because I think it incentivizes you to win your division so much more than otherwise you would in the 1-8 format, right? Because in the 1-8, it just doesn't matter. You just know that, all right, yeah, this is who I'm going to slot up against no matter what. In this format, you desperately want to win your division because it gets you a wild card matchup, and you don't have to be one of these 2 teams playing in the first round. And I also kind of agree with Gary Bettman that it, like, you know what, like that's just the way it shook out. So you're going to play this team in the first round, and I think that it makes for good, compelling first round matchups. You don't get stuff like the NBA where you've just got blowouts all over the place. So maybe that's just me. I don't know, but I was
going to say, dude, I think that it gets flack overall. Not just on. I don't think it's just the big Twitter heads. I think everyone, or I think a vast majority of hockey fans are against it. But I'm totally in lockstep with you on it, Adam. I'm a big fan of the current playoff format, and I think my reasons are pretty similar to you. Incentivizing winning your division is one thing, especially the bigger issue probably is you should probably do the 3-2-1 playoff format. My dad harps on that all the time. You should not have games that have more points in it than other games. I think that's a total monstrosity. Would love to get into that at some point throughout the summer, obviously. But the bigger thing for me, and some people hate it, is I love the 2-3 matchups staying in division every single year. I know I like that you've gotten Oilers and Kings. I know it's not this year, but like you got it 100 years in a row. Like it builds rivalries. I can tell you for a fact that as a Vegas fan, the reason I hate Edmonton as much as I hate Edmonton is playing them in the playoffs every single year. Like I wasn't alive for the days of like the Patrick division and all those rivalries when you had like the old divisions, but like that was, you played the same teams in the playoffs every single year, so you hated those teams. Like I do think it's good for the sport, and I'm just so in favor. Another thing you brought up, the 1-8, Adam. I have lived in a city where it's not the most loved sport, but basketball has been our most successful sport pretty much my whole entire life. You know me, I'm a massive sports fan across all 4 sports. Could not tell you one fucking division in basketball. I don't know one of them. Like I do not know who's in the Cavs division. No clue.
I don't even know if they have divisions.
They do. Well, we are in the Central Division. I do know that for a fact. We are in the Central Division because so are the Guardians. But like you don't get that. You miss out on what
It just doesn't matter.
Football, the other three have. Yeah, like I'm a big fan of the current format, and if anything, as dumb as this sounds, people will hate this because it's actually even more regressive. Probably, I would go 4-4 and just do 1-4, 2-3 in a division. And if you weren't good enough, or if you were good and the other division sucks, so be it. That's how sports work. I love it. I love it.
I disagree with you on that because I think the wild card race is wildly entertaining.
That's fair. That is fair.
Could you imagine if the Senators didn't make it in and like Columbus made it in this year instead?
Yeah, I think the Hurricanes would have outshot them 40-20 and won the game 3-2. It would have been the exact same.
No, it would be terrible. It would be terrible. Like I like the wild card a lot, so you're out of line with that, in my opinion. But
okay, we'll throw the whole. I want to throw the 3-2-1 debate in this summer as well. I think
we'll get to that another day.
My biggest point on this series, and they lost the last game, but I mean this kid had a ridiculous game. And this is a newsflash, Captain Obvious statement of the year. Brock Faber is really, 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 really good at hockey, Adam.
Dude, yes. So he, to me, he's just like so sturdy. That's the thing that I see with him. I feel like he wins like every puck battle. Like when he's on the wall, he just like doesn't get moved. And
it's not like he's Nicholas Cronwall sized either.
Yeah, but like in game one, there was a particular play where he gets the puck coming up the half wall in his own zone. He's got Rantanen right on his back. And Rantanen like leans on him. And normally Rantanen leans on a guy and he can push them off the puck or at least disrupt them in some fashion. And he tries to like lean on Brock Faber. He just can't move them. And Faber just sheds them. They come right up the ice. He leads the he didn't carry the puck over the blue line, but he snaps a pass to the neutral zone. They're in, and then they score like 5 seconds later. And you just look at that, and you're like, wow. And then he's scoring goals in all over the place, too.
His goal in game 2 is ridiculous.
He is a hell of a player. It certainly helps to have Quinn Hughes with you. There's no doubt about that. But even if they didn't acquire Quinn Hughes, I think that acquiring him has just accelerated the progression of Brock Faber. I think he's always had this in his bag, and it's crazy to see now. But like the guy is an Olympian for a reason. When he plays with Quinn Hughes, he can get a little more offensive. I think it just opens up more ice for him. He's always really good defensively, though, which is the impressive thing, too. He's very, very good defensively and responsible in that fashion. And that's what creates so much offense for him. But you're absolutely right. Brock Faber was going to be one of my big, big points in this series. I love Brock Faber's game. Kaprizov, I think he's got to take over a playoff series. It's like it's time.
For the coin he's making now,
he
could have a 200-point regular season every single year, and it wouldn't matter at all.
But even still, even if he didn't sign that ticket, I'd still be looking at him like, come on, guy. We've got a lot of players on this team, but like you're the guy that's gotta do it. Like he's got the Lamborghini motor. I always say he never gets tired. He's fast as hell all the time. But I think he's got a little bit more jam and grit than people might realize. And so I'm looking at him. I think he's got to be the difference finally. Like he's just got to decide that he wants to win games. And he can do it. So that's what I'm looking at. That and the last
but I think I would even upgrade it a little bit and say for the coin he's getting, because I do factor in coin. I have been forced into hearing $230 million for the Cleveland Browns starting backup quarterback for the last 4 years. So I have to pay attention to the AAV and what you're getting out of deals at and what that value truly is, because I'm not getting that in my life. You got to go like Mikko Rantanen mode to win a series if you have to. That's what you should expect to see out of him coming up. Do you have anything on the Dallas side of it?
Well, I think Dallas, game 1 was obviously an abomination. I think that game 2 was more back on track for them. I don't think anybody doubts that they're capable, right? Like they've made deep runs. So in my opinion, like, I don't know. I'm only picking Minnesota just because I feel like they're just due to break through and like they're like ready to take that step.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against Dallas. I just think that it's more about Minnesota than anything. The one thing I will say about Dallas though is like you can tell that they've been there before, right? Like you get blown out in game one like that to respond in game two on home ice, like that's huge. They had to have that and they did. So good on them. Good on them for wearing the third jerseys as well. Those are better. That's a good move for them. They look good in those, and they just need to bring back the regular color scheme for that star design, and then they'll be fine. And just good playoff hockey. The hit by Colin Blackwell on Yakov Trenin. Oh my god, dude! I think that Colin
Harvard legend Colin Blackwell.
Dude, Colin Blackwell went straight up Japanese airman World War II kamikaze.
Kamikaze, yeah.
He was, dude. I think that Colin Blackwell in the locker room like signed his will before he went out and threw that hit, because I don't even know if Colin Blackwell would tell you that he was going to come out of it on top like that. Like, I think that Colin Blackwell just was prepared to meet Yakov Trenin in the A gap, and no matter what, he was going to put his shoulder down. And good for him. He ended up on top of it.
That's guys you like having in April, May, and June, dude.
Yeah, Yakov Trenin, they keep making a big deal. He's the NHL hits leader. I don't care if you're the NHL's hits leader. Can you take a hit? I don't know if I'd be getting up after that one either, dude. He looked like he was a corpse after that, and he of course didn't return to the game. I mean, dude, for a cold-blooded Russian, Yakov Trenin, to not return to the game after that should tell you everything that you need to know. Yeah, who knows? They might have had to airlift them out of the American.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is there's sometimes like if you disrespect the homeland that much, they might just after the game.
Well, yeah, dude. Like in the KHL, like they might just leave you out there until you bleed out.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's like dying with honor, but back to, yeah, right. Like, what is it? Come back with your shield or on it.
Yeah, come back with your shield or on it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what happened right there. And it's the same thing for Colin Blackwell too. Because again, I think Colin Blackwell was prepared to be face down in the muck if things didn't go his way right there. And he would have been perfectly fine with it because that's just playoff hockey. So that was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. But for Colin Blackwell to come out as the man on top there and in the home ice just going nuts, just unbelievable. That was a crazy moment. That's a hit that I will not soon forget.
Adam, 3 more series in the Western. These ones are a bit more difficult to talk about, I guess, because we don't really totally know what's going on. I guess, do you want to start with Edmonton Anaheim? Because I think that this series will stay 1-0 by the time this goes out tomorrow. So we can hit that one. Adam, full transparency, I would never sit here and lie to you, did not get the chance to take this game in last night. So fill me in on what I missed. I saw a 4-3 final. I saw McDavid, no points. I think, did Kapanen have 2?
Kapanen and Jason Dickinson both had 2 goals.
Oh, wow. Jason Dickinson did also?
He what?
Jason Dickinson did also?
Yes, both of them.
How is Ingram?
Ingram, not bad. I mean, like, here's the thing. If you want my quick synopsis on it, I think the Ducks are going to look back and really kick themselves because, as you mentioned, Connor McDavid, no points in this game. Oilers were previously winless in the 13 games that Connor McDavid did not record a point. I think it was like 0-12-1.
Oh, wow.
In the regular season. Like, if he didn't score a point, then they were cooked. And so for them to win a game without McDavid points, I think is one that the Ducks are going to want to have back at some point in this series if they find themselves down 3-2 or they lose it in 6 or 7. So that was my first thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Leo Carlsson is a problem for the Edmonton Oilers. Leo Carlsson does not look intimidated by the playoffs. He does not look scared.
Shots on goal in game 1.
He does not look nervous. I didn't see a shot total. What did you say it was?
Shots on goal in game 1.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. But it passes the eye test. He was all over the place. Troy Terry had 2 goals. I'm a big Troy Terry fan. He, of course, we know the guy has ice in his veins from his days in the World Junior Championship.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not surprising that he had 2 to me. Like, that guy just goes out and plays. He's a sick player. But Leo Carlson, I'd be terrified if I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan. He was galloping all over there. The Ducks, similar to, I guess, Les Habitants, the Habs, I wouldn't want to put them on the power play any more than I have to. Their power play's sick. They were cooking on the power play. Edmonton had trouble getting to the middle of the ice, which I thought that Anaheim did well. So if they can continue to do that and minimize McDavid, they'll give themselves a chance in every game, because the Oilers are bound to let you hang around is basically what it comes down to. So I think that this game will be the difference, though, ultimately. Like, I'd love to see the Ducks win, but I think the Oilers will probably win the series, and it might be because of the fact that they got to win a game without any McDavid points. So it's tough for the Ducks, but that's just my read on it.
Adam, last 2 for you. Vegas takes game 1 over the Mammoth. I honestly didn't have a ton on this one, despite the fact that it is my team. I guess my biggest thing was just shout out to Torts for being cognizant of. He went out to, I think he made the move. They didn't do this at all when he got here late in the season, but they tried the super line to go with Marner, Eichel, and Stone together. They realized that didn't work pretty quick. I think about halfway through the second, maybe a little bit earlier. They switched and put Marner back down at center on the second line, and things kind of picked back up from there. They had 52 hits, and their most hits in the regular season was, I think I saw it was 35 or something like that. So, I mean, the game got more physical, I guess. And for the first time probably ever all season, the goaltending just didn't fuck up the whole entire game. So, yeah, that is – I think that series is going to be a really good series, though, Adam. I see that one going 7.
I think it'll be a really good series, too. You're talking about the hit totals. That's just big boy Western Conference playoff hockey.
Oh, yeah.
I think that that's what that simply comes down to, and that's the Vegas Golden Knights saying, all right, we're going to welcome Utah into this series and let them know what playoff hockey is all about. We've been there, we've done that. We're going to show them how we do it. That's the read I got on it. Particularly a guy like Barbashev. Barbashev looked possessed the way he was throwing his weight around and everything. So that was probably a terrifying thing if you're on Utah. Like the third period comeback, yeah, I mean, it's just like they've been there before, they've done that. So I wasn't shocked to see that, but I think Utah can bounce back from it quickly. I think they're good enough, they'll learn quick enough. They'll give themselves a chance in this series. They're on the road, right? So see what you can do here. See if you can even it up at 1. We'll see if Nick Dowd tries to go Phil Kessel mode like he did on John Scott and just start swinging at Logan Cooley after what happened in game 1, where he famously told Logan Cooley that he was going to kill him. I'm removing some words there, but we'll be interested to see how that one goes. I honestly, like, call me crazy, Jack, but like I didn't think that it was anything insane. I mean, maybe I'm not out on the ice. I don't know.
I think honestly it might be a tiny bit of, as dumb as this sounds, like you would think like, oh, Logan Cooley hasn't really been in the playoffs a ton in his career. He's a young buck. Like, he's the guy who might lose his emotions. Honestly, I think it might be the opposite. I think Nick Dowd might be a career bottom 6 guy who I could be wrong about this. This might be false information. I think that was his first ever playoff series. I don't know if that could somehow.
He's been on the Capitals.
I know, but I thought they said that was maybe it's his first playoff goal only, but I thought they said it was his first playoff series.
Definitely his first playoff goal. I'm just gonna tap.
Or maybe it was Smith, but maybe never mind. It might have been Smith
real quick.
He's played
a lot of playoff games with Capitals.
Okay, never mind. It might have been Smith then who it's his first playoff series. So that makes my point null and void across the board. I do look, anytime you're getting about a middle 6 guy or a bottom 6 guy who like goes out, scores an important goal from in a big game like that, like you're in the right place in front of the nets, you get a stick on that. And then like what like when you go out and get a guy like Nick Dowd at the deadline because you've had issues putting these 4th round picks in the lineup every night on the 4th line because you've never kept a 1st or 2nd round pick in the history of your franchise, you don't think of much more out of getting Nick Dowd than, hey, this guy steps in, scores a big goal out of nowhere, brings a bit of the grit, and fires up the team. Like that's what you're looking for when you bring a guy like that in, no?
Yeah, you would expect that Nick Dowd would act like he's been there before, exactly to your point, and he just didn't. Like Nick Waugh has played in 40 playoff games already coming into that one. Like, did he not expect to take a stick up high off a draw, or like to catch an extra elbow or something? Like,
some people stand 10 toes down though. Like, you just don't do that to Nick Dowd.
Like buddy, like, that's gonna happen. You're playing for the cup here. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, I struggled to see where he was coming from, if I'm being honest. So honestly, good for Logan Cooley, good old Pittsburgh boy. He's got skill. If he's going to get under Nick Dowd's skin, like it's Nick Dowd should be trying to get under Logan Cooley's skin, but I don't see it's happening the other way there. So that's about all I got for that one.
Adam, last series, the Colorado Avalanche kind of I'm not going to say squeak by, but they won a 1-goal game, probably a little bit closer than some people thought coming in, but in the playoffs, any W is a W.
Yeah,
that is ridiculous. Any major thoughts from the game outside of Artemi Panarin scored, didn't do his leg kick. That was kind of interesting. No leg kick.
Well, yeah, you can't leg kick when you're down 2-0. When you're down 2-0 and you score with an empty net to cut the deficit to 1 with like a minute and a half left. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he can leg kick back at Crypto Arena. But dude, yeah, the Kings are trying to do what is honestly probably their only hope. Like, they're trying to do like what the Flyers are doing to the Penguins, where they just kind of, slow play it, trap it up, don't take any chances whatsoever. They know that they can't win a track meet against the Avalanche, so they're trying to keep everybody in front of them. So it is what it is, man. They're trying to win a playoff series. They understand. I think it's DJ Smith is their coach out there. Like, he knows what they got to do against the team that they're playing. So good for them. If I'm the Avalanche, I'm just trying to pour it on in waves. Like, I'm daring this team to try to skate up the ice against me. Like, again,
ironically, I think it was these two teams. Forgive me if I'm wrong on it being the Kings, but I in my head, I always attribute the quote to Daryl Sutter. So that's why I want to say it was the Kings. But I think the one year they played the Avs after they won the President's Trophy in the first round, I think they might have just missed the playoffs as the 9 seed. And he was like, yeah, well, like, would have been the quickest 8 days of all time. So I'm okay with it. I think that was his quote.
I think it was the Flames. I think he was the coach of the Flames.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it's Daryl Sutter.
He did coach the Kings, so I get what you're saying. But I think it was like last year whenever, Colorado's sick last year too. And, or I don't know, because they played Dallas.
This was a few years ago.
Yeah, but the Flames
it was the same year that I've been talking about earlier from Vegas being in the second round.
We're on the same page. We're on the same page. But I think it was the Flames that he was with.
Okay,
but
yeah.
You're exactly right. Would have been the quickest 8 days ever. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Quentin Byfield, dude, like, I keep watching this guy. He just like flies. He's so fast. He skates all over the place, but then like his stats just like don't back it up, right? Like, he's got to. I think like Kings fans probably have been saying this for like 4 years now, but like he's got to take the next step. But like he does. He's a second overall pick. You got to take the step. He skates like he's so fast. He's just got to. It's got to be intangibles, right? Like, he's got to put it together. Because they need guys like that to come together to support, the Panarins of the world, and Kopitar's in his last year. I like Adrian Kempe. Adrian Kempe's playing like he's on like the jail recess yard.
Yeah,
he's roughing up Makar and stuff. Like, that's what they're going to have to do
like the Rents do.
That they're going to have to try to do that to win. Still very possible that the Avalanche will sweep them. Wouldn't be surprised. Anton Forsberg gets the start for LA too. He had game 1. I was a little bit surprised to see him instead of Darcy.
That is Lake Erie Monsters and Calder Cup champion, Cleveland legend Anton Forsberg.
Yeah, a little surprised to see him instead of Darcy Kemper, but it is what it is, man. DJ Smith knows what he's doing with his lineup out there. So there's not too much to be said there. I think that the McKinnons and the Natchuses will start to get their licks in. And I'm happy to see Gabe Landeskog fully healthy and back in the playoffs. I'll say that. It was awesome how he came back last year and everything, but like, for him to be in the mix and all that, like, they're a much better team. Like, if there's a year for the Avs to really get it done, I think it's this one. Like, I think Landeskog is so much more important than people realize for that team. So I hope he stays healthy because, like, they could go really far with Landeskog in the lineup. So that's what I like to see.
Adam, do you think it's time to hit a HockeyDB maybe?
We got a good one.
Let's do it, baby. Let's head on over to Maxim Afinogenov. Adam, as we move off of the hockey talk for the week, as the playoffs keep on going on, it is time for. Is it our flagship segment? It's got to be, right?
Yeah, this is one that I look forward to every week. You know, I have like my own DB of the day every single day, like 15 times over, just because I'm a lunatic and I look at that all the time. Yeah, the official internet hockey database of the program here, though, HockeyDB, the best to do it. So I mean, what better segment to have as your flagship segment?
Absolutely, and that's why you put it second to last. That's what you do with all flagship segments. Everyone knows that. It's show business. Just trust us. We promise. Without further ado, Adam, take it away. Who is this week's HockeyDB of the week?
Well, you know, we've got a lot of buzz back in the city of Buffalo here for the playoff run. It just had my mind percolating a little bit with thoughts of 06, 07. And when I think about those Buffalo Sabres teams of the mid-2000s, I think about this absolute stud, Maxim Afinogenov, Jack. Every team, everybody who's – let me rephrase that. Everybody's favorite team, you've got this just crazy, sick Russian guy on it at some point. Like, you know, like I think of your Vegas Golden Knights and how you guys randomly had Vadim Shipachyov for 3 games. And like –
greatest 3 games of my life. Number 87 out of respect to Sidney Crosby.
That's right. Vadim Shipachyov. Like, everybody's got that, right? So when I think of the Sabres, I think of Maxim Afinogenov. Again, like a lot of my thoughts for the Sabres right now, I can hear Rick Jeanneret in the background. This is a name that I can just hear RJ just howling.
Maxim Afinogenov.
Afinogenov. Unbelievable, this guy. Like, if this doesn't encapsulate the dream of every hockey player who has come from Russia over to the States, you know, he's drafted. Don't know how much the signing bonus was in 1997, but what are you going to do? Play over in the KHL a little bit, have your mom's goulash for a little bit longer. Comes over. They stick him down in Rochester there, if you can see that, Jack. He said, fuck that. I don't care about playing in Rochester. Get me
not a big garbage plate guy.
6, 12, 18 points in 15 games. Got him out of there really quick. Comes up to the big club and, you know, puts up those numbers. Good for him. That's awesome. Goes on to have some really nice solid seasons, right? Like 20 goal scorer. And mind you, like those are a lot of pretty goals in there. We're talking about a Russian player here. Like those aren't like, oh, like I'm driving the net hard and it's going off my skate and in. It's like, no, this is the NHL playoffs, and I just wound up against Henrik Lundqvist and won the game on a slap shot from inside the blue line to send the Key Bump Center into an absolute frenzy. That's the kind of player we're talking about here. I think of Maxim Afinogenov. I think about flash. I think about razzle. I think about dazzle, skill. Unbelievable moments. Rick Jeanneret, again, like I said, just howling into the mic about this guy. Look at him there. I love the picture you got here.
I love 2 of my favorite jerseys of all time. Let me say real quick.
Yeah, really, really nice. Bauer 4,500 bucket was never a question for this guy, right? Like, notice the sock tape too. Like, we're keeping things really tight there. Classic Russian style. Even throwback to the Takla pants. This guy had it figured out. Okay, that's the point. He had it figured out. And more evidence of him having it figured out. He plays 1 year there, Jack, if you can tell, down in Atlanta, his last season in the NHL. Unbelievable year, by the way.
61 points.
Dash 17, but who cares about that? I've got 61 points in the National Hockey League. I just had a ball down there in Atlanta. I think he had the pleasure of playing with Ilya Kovalchuk before he moved on. I'm just going to fact check myself on that really quick. And yes, he did. He played with Ilya Kovalchuk that year. Ilya Kovalchuk probably told him, hey, buddy, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to New Jersey. You better blow this popsicle stand just like me. And so he said, you know what? I'll take your advice on that. He just skates back over to the KHL, playing for St. Petersburg SCA there, and 1 year later, there goes Atlanta up to Winnipeg. Could you imagine if they tried to stick this guy in Winnipeg? I don't
Well,
know.
Adam, I was gonna say I think it's also just square crazy in the first place. If you look at this, like just imagine for a second. Let's say you're up in insert any city in Russia. You've seen me play geography and trivia before. I know you got Moscow and you got St. Petersburg,
St. Petersburg?
confirmed St. Petersburg, just like Tampa Bay. Can't tell you a ton past that up there. Just imagine, Adam, just looking at this again real quick. Let's say the year's 1998, right? 98, 99, and you're a fan of the Moscow Dynamo, right? Let's say just like, life throws a bounce at you, goes the wrong way, you end up in a coma, right? And you're like, wow, like it's gonna suck. Like your family's like, yeah, I mean, like I can't watch Maxim Afenaganov with dad anymore. You wake up from that coma 20 years later, and Adam, guess whose chin you see right back on the Moscow Dynamo 20 years later to the day. Just how crazy is it to have different stints in the K with the same team 20 years apart? I think that's crazy. I mean, a guy who, when you went into that coma, was a point per game player in the playoffs for the organization, comes back and is playing playoff games 20 years later. I mean, that's just incredible dedication.
That's a great shot by you. And that's exactly what I mean when I talk about like this guy's career as a whole is just the dream of any Russian player that you could ever have. Because, like I said, you've got the home cooked goulash for a few years there. The NHL club is happy to let you refine your game over in the Continental Hockey League. You come over, you do your thing, you have a ton of minuses, but you have a ton of points too. And then after you collect that bag, that USD, that coin, then you kind of have had your fill a little bit. Like you're tired of all of the, the grueling aspects of the NHL. You're like, I might as well just go back to Russia and play a shorter season. And, they talk about the Russian gas and everything over there. If you're a high profile guy like Maxim Afenaganov too, like I'm sure that the owner's treating him well. He's probably got like a hooker on the side that like, they can do whatever they want. They just give the owner a call when they want him or something like that.
There's no church in the wild when it comes to the morals of the Moscow Dynamo.
No, and so there's just a little.
Yeah, I envision everyone being Xavier Laflemme from Goon, basically, in the KHL.
Yeah, it's like, sure, like the contracts might not be as lucrative over in the KHL as they can be in the NHL, but the same way that guys are willing to sacrifice a little bit off their paycheck for the comfort of having a no move clause, right, in the NHL, I think that you get that in the KHL just with other things that aren't no move clauses. They just happen to be a little bit more materialistic and
they'll move all over you.
Could possibly be related to, pharmaceuticals, sex, booze, all that kind of stuff, right? You get the point. So, just
you in America, you get health, you get dental, you get auto.
Yeah,
it's a different story across the pond.
Yeah, and I don't know Maxim Afenaganov personally. I just think it'd be really cool if that's the way that things went for him. So it's just like it's pure speculation, right? But based on all the information that we've digested about what playing in the KHL is like, and what those kind of players are like. I mean, I like a lot of guys love the game. I love the game, right? But like the game was done with me before I wanted to be done with it. Maxim Afenaganov played until his age 40 season. Like, I don't know how much he loved the game there. Like, maybe there was something else keeping him around for a little bit, right? So, like, you never know. But it's an awesome career. I mean, 124 PIMs out of nowhere, by the way, in the 14-15 season. That's really cool. I don't know what happened that year, but maybe he got a bonus if he hit like triple-digit PIMs that year in the KHL. Not sure, but just awesome stat lines. This guy, he's the real deal, man. So all this to bring it back to, like Sabres in the playoffs, good vibes are back in Buffalo. Thinking about RJ, thinking about Maxim Afenaganov, all-time Sabre in my opinion. Number 61, Maxim Afenaganov.
Absolutely. And Adam, you mentioned unreal stats. One place where you're almost always going to get unreal stats is the Doku of the day. take a quick break, which isn't really a break for you guys because we don't have commercials because we have 40 subscribers and you need at least, I think it's 1,000 to get ads on YouTube. So we're going to take a break. You guys don't need to take a break. We're going to be back here in 5 seconds with the Puckdoku of the day. Adam, obviously, as always, this is our first time seeing the Puckdoku for today. Well, I mean, what a great DB out of our good friend Maxim Afenaganov as well. Shout out to Maxim Afenaganov. Adam, 10 minutes up on the clock. Let's Doku.
All right. Got a lot of names coming at me here with this middle column.
I think out of respect, we got to go Ruslan, 2 Cups, Penguins, right?
In that spot, Jack, I was thinking Matt Cullen, the Virginia, Minnesota native.
I love it. If you feel good about it, I feel good about it.
Well, I know he's won with the Hurricanes before, so yeah.
2%.
Not bad. I feel like we get burned on him. Like we always go back and look at the stats after, and it's like, oh, Matt Cullen. Like I just wanted
that is true.
I wanted to just show him one through there. I've used this name before, and I got no shame doing it again because not a lot of people know this guy. Top middle, we're gonna go Kalen Addison. In hindsight, a very minor piece of the Jason Zucker trade. That's simply. Oh God! You know what? He never actually dressed for us.
Oh, what? I mean, Adam,
it's on me.
One thing people don't talk about enough for this program, though, is that we play an honest game. You know, we show our scores, and just like how sometimes you go down a playoff series in real life, we took a bit of a stumble, and that's all the time we got for you on Having Fun Hockey today. A very melancholy end to the episode, I will say for once. You don't get that often. Hope you guys enjoy our thoughts so far in the playoffs. We'll be next week with an update. I think the first round will be done, actually, right?
I can't even think right now.
He doesn't even care. He doesn't even care, folks. We'll see you next week with some more playoff hockey.